All right, so we'll wait a few minutes to let's see if people show up. And they call them the naturals. Naturals can be. Call them the naturals. They come naturally. They're the sons of a gun, and they play 21. And they go with the naturals. It's time. It's time. It's Vader time. Time. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Hello, how you doing, second person? Always, if you can help out by liking and sharing the stream, seeing if we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be a big help. We're just still waiting on a few people. Got 10 stories to go over tonight. Um, and we're back down to one now. Let's see. Killing time, just watching the grass grow. It's alright, it's okay. Welcome to this life. Do 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 do. Get along, gang, get along, gang. Each one's special in their own way. Get along, gang, get along, gang. Get up with the get along, gang. Everyone is okay. Get up with the get along, gang. Oh, get up. Get up with the get along, gang. Everyone is okay. Get up with a get along game. Oh. Hey, Jason. Let's see. Sunny Straight Kick Vic. I think he is. Yeah, I think he's kind of in that same kind of cadre of individuals there. Hmm. Hmm. Let's see. Well, I'm still waiting. Let me. Let's see. Uh, Tell you what. Yeah. Will you collab with someone in the future? Example, um, I don't plan. What do you mean by collab? I'm not a creator. I'm more of a commentator. So, I do go on Critical Blast channel. Um, I'm on his on Sunday nights, and there are a few guys in the comics industry that I'll go on their sometimes I'll go on their streams. But what exactly do you mean by collab, there, Jason? I don't understand what you're asking there. We're at the 9 minute mark, so I guess it's a good time to start getting going. But if you can clarify that, then I can probably give you a better answer, Jason. What you mean by collab? I mean, if you mean like doing streams with other people, I do that, but usually more with comics people. There are some anime people like Hero Hey I'd like to like kind of hang out on a panel with, but it just hasn't happened. It's just been more with guys like Critical Blast and of course if you can, as I said, if you can like and share the stream so we can get some more people in here, that'd be appreciated. Um, so anyways, we're actually coming up on 10 minutes here, so I'm gonna go ahead and start getting started on the stream here. So tonight we got like 10 stories to go over. Um, two of them from two of them from two of them from two of them from Bounding into Comics. 6 from CBR, and then a couple of wrestling stories that I picked up watching a video earlier. Albeit I've seen a headline also that um, that maybe also may alter the wrestling story. But so, anyways, among the stuff we're going to talk about, including another Marvel artist having some criticism for some of his higher ups. DC is planning another crisis event. Boom Studios is getting another edition. And then Todd McFarlane also came out with a homage to the X-Men, to Jim Lee's X-Men 1 cover, number 1 cover. On the anime side of it, we'll have a couple articles talking about anime adaptations. Fullmetal Alchemist teasing a movie for its 20th anniversary. And then what was the other one? I just reviewed it too. We're going to also talk a little bit about Overlord as well. And also, along with all that, let me see now. A couple of wrestling stories. One of them regarding, of course, Cody Rhodes. And since I watched a video earlier, I saw another headline of a video that said that he wasn't going to. But we'll wait and see. Also, some news on Devon Dudley, health issues and all that. So, with all that being said, why don't we go ahead and get started on the news show here on the. So let's get going here. All right, so here we are. All right, so here's the first article we're going to go over. DC Comics announces new Crisis event series with Dark Crisis following, in smaller quotes, Death of the Justice League. Article by J.B. Augustine, published earlier today. A dark crisis will be upon us this summer. DC is ready for their next big crossover that will define 2022 and that they are selling as epic, unquote. So I guess they're looking to reboot, and they're probably going to try to reboot with all the woke garbage. Justice League Road to Dark Crisis #1 DC Comics. Writer Joshua Williamson and artist Daniel Sampere are teaming up for a 7-issue limited series that Sampere calls a quote-unquote love letter to the DC Comics and its characters that has been 30 years in the making. Williamson teased the event series known formally as Dark Crisis on Twitter, saying, quote, "It's about legacy," unquote, and sharing art by Sampere and Alejandro Sanchez. In a press release, DC Comics really stresses the epicenter of the saga when they declare it, quote, an epic battle of good versus evil with epic surprises in store. They add it'll show, quote, how heroes relate to each other when faced with the impossible. Well, actually, we've seen that happen before. It's not like, oh boy, it's not like there's going to be anything that new or dynamic here. So, whenever they do a crisis, it's usually a reboot. Usually a reboot of the whole universe. So, anyways. Once the elite members of the Justice League are killed off in Justice League number 75's quote unquote Death of the Justice League story, which I've heard has been done a few times as well, Dark Crisis will kick off from there and aim to thread all the stories since Infinite Frontier number 0 together. The main villain is Pariah, a remnant character from Crisis on Infinite Earths, last seen in an epilogue of Infinite Frontier number 6. Using the quote unquote Great Darkness as a weapon, he tries to bring his multiverse 2 in the now Kanan DC multiverse back, but in doing so, Pariah feels the need to wipe out Earth Prime. And from what some sources say, Earth Prime might be our Earth. From some of the sources I've seen over the years, I think Earth Prime is supposed to be our Earth. Or some representation of our Earth. The official description states, quote, in the original Crisis on Infinite Earths by Marv Wolfman and George Perez, the homeworld of Pariah, along with the infinite multiverse, was obliterated. Now, the Mad Soul survivor has found a way to bring his homeworld and the entire infinite multiverse back from the dead. Earth Zero must die. Unquote. It concludes, quote, an ancient destructive force called the Great Darkness, first appearing in Swamp Thing by Alan Moore and Stan Walk, is the weapon Pariah will wield as he paves a path of rebirth and vengeance. In DC's next big event, Dark Crisis, the heroes left behind must come together to combat the great evil and save the lost Justice League. But what happens when not everyone agrees to join the fight? Unquote. Let's see if anybody's joined us yet. I'm still the only one here. All right. Anyways. Quote, it will have all the giant fun cosmic battles and multiversal set pieces, but it's not about reboots, retcons, or rewriting time and space, unquote, Williamson says. quote, at its core, it's about the characters and the relationships that we've seen built over DC's great history, unquote. He adds, quote, Dark Crisis spins out of Justice League 75, Death of the Justice League, and connects all the story threads across the DCU since Infinite Frontier number 0 in a major way, unifying the new legacy of the DCU as we honor the classic. You can't miss it, unquote. Alright, anyways. Daniel Sampier seconds the sentiment of the quote unquote epic tagline and avows his DC fandom in the pursuit of Dark Crisis. Quote, to me, Dark Crisis is a big celebration of for all DC fans, unquote, says Daniel Sampier. It's a huge event full of epic heart, an event that embraces the past while looking to the future. Joshua and I are the biggest DC fans, and this is our love letter to these characters and this universe. Unquote. The namesake limited series will have 2 preludes: Dark Crisis number 0 FCBD Special Edition and Justice League Road to Dark Crisis number 1. Let's see. The FCBD special, I guess that's supposed to be Free Comic Book Day. Special will be available for free on May 7th, i.e., Free Comic Book Day. Road to Dark Crisis number 1 is out on May 31st and won't be a freebie. Okay. At 32 pages and presenting a preview of Dark Crisis, Free Comic Book Day Special Edition is written by Williamson and a slew of unannounced writers, with a cover and art by Daniel Sampier, Jim Chung, and more unidentified participants. Here's a panel from Dark Crisis number 1. In a description, DC offers the following, quote, witness the rise and fall of the Justice League. The event years in the making is here with Dark Crisis. The Justice League is comics' greatest super team, made up of DC Comics' legendary superheroes, which of course has been adapted into many other forms of media. There was, I know, a very brief live action version, but also we've seen like for those of us who grew up in the 80s, we saw like Super Friends, Legendary Superpowers team, the DCAU stuff of like Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. They have saved the world countless times. No crisis was too much for them to handle until now, unquote. It concludes, quote, the Justice League has been defeated by the Great Darkness and its army of DC's most dangerous villains. Now, a new generation of heroes must rise to protect not only the multiverse, but also the legacy of the DC Universe. Prelude to DC's biggest story of 2022. Justice League Road to Dark Crisis number 1 deals with the aftermath of the League falling in battle when new heroes rise to the occasion and villains try to take advantage. Writers include Williamson, Jeremy Adams, Brandon Thomas, Chuck Brown, Stephanie Phillips, and Philip Kennedy Johnson. The team of artists is as expansive as the writers, made up of Dan Jurgens, Fico Ocio, Emanuela Lupacino, Leila Del Duca, and more. The official description for that story states the Justice League has tragically fallen, quote, the Justice League has tragically fallen in battle. And now we see the aftermath. How does the world react to the Justice League being gone? Which heroes rise up? And which villains try to take advantage? And what dark forces are lying in wait to attack? Dark Crisis is giving us a new Justice League, but it's possible the old League will be restored at the end. Knowing DC Comics these days and the resistance to sweeping unwarranted change in established characters, it wouldn't be a shock. Oh, there we go that way. All right. So, anybody want to say anything? And I guess I'm still the only one here. Wondering if anybody wanted to say anything in regards to the article I just read. Oh, we now have hello. How you doing, sir? Whoever just joined me. If you can like and share the stream as well to kind of help see if we can get some more people in here, that'd be appreciated. I just finished reading about DC. Coming out with a new Crisis storyline, Crisis event. So, I'll wait to see if you got anything to say before I move on to the next story. Let me see. Just checking some stuff here. All right, so here we go. All right, anything said? No, I guess not. So we will get ready to move on to the next article then. And we got another case of another Marvel Comics artist coming out and having a beef. Another comic artist coming out and having a beef with somebody. This case is with Marvel. Marvel Comics artist Bill Sienkiewicz, not happy with forced corporate diversity changes in Prime Video's The Lord of the Rings: The Rings of Power. I guess I've been hearing a little bit too about this, that there's a lot of people who've have a criticism on this particular production. Article by John F. Trent published earlier today. Marvel Comics artist Bill Sienkiewicz, known for his work on New Mutants and Moon Knight, and more recently his tirade against comic book fans, expressed that he did not like the forced corporate diversity and tokenism in Prime Video's upcoming Lord of the Rings and the Rings of Power show. Oh, wow. So this guy went off on fans, and now I guess he's about the forced corporate diversity. That makes you wonder where this guy's head's at. Hey, Rick. Thank you for dropping in. If you can like and share the stream and see if we can get some more people in here, that'd be appreciated. Yeah, we're just going over some comic articles here. Anyways, and I'll continue on here. Prime Video's The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power executive producer Lindsay Weber explained to Vanity Fair the show altered and race swapped multiple characters because, quote, it felt only natural to us that an adaptation of Tolkien's work would reflect what the world actually looks like, unquote. So, taking aspects of a totally fantasy fictional world, the way it was done, and now trying to once again put tokenize it a bit and put their agenda in. Okay, that's good. And I'm being sarcastic there, guys. Quote, Tolkien is for everyone. His stories are about his fictional races doing their best work when they leave the isolation of their own cultures and come together, she argued. Yeah, but I don't think it was meant for you to race swap them, though. That's the thing. And I was, not that I'm wanting to get too political here, but I was happened to watch a video Anthony Brian Logan did earlier about Shelter Foya leaving NBC and how she left because she felt that she was not being represented as as a conservative. So, anyways, ElfQuest creator Wendy Peeney took to Facebook to detail a conversation she had with Sienkiewicz regarding the upcoming The Rings of Power series. She prefaced Sienkiewicz's comments, writing, quote, Today my friend and colleague, the illustrious Bill Sienkiewicz, paid me a dazzling compliment in a thread devoted to some interesting debate about the upcoming new Lord of the Rings series. She added, quote, Here is a pertinent excerpt from his comments, note, salty language and all, unquote. All right, so maybe that right there. Next, Peeney quoted Sienkiewicz, who stated, quote, I understand that so many young women and POCs or people of color want to see themselves represented in their entertainment. But I honestly feel that what I would love to see is stories. And it's supposed to be B, not GB. Typo right there. Be written that do that from the ground up. Well, then make new characters, write new stories, create a whole new universe. Don't just try to usurp, established characters. Okay, try to bring in new characters or create new characters if you want to do that. Try to usurp what's already there. Let's see. Not retrofitting and re-imaging something to suit the current political climate, if that's supposed to be climate. It's like saying, quote, all the pine should really be oak. Bleeping pine. Unquote. So I guess that's what Sienkiewicz said. And I guess if he's arguing that they should make new characters or make a new universe, I think most people would agree that's probably what they should do. Not try to use established characters to push an agenda. Sienkiewicz continued, quote, Despite strengths and failings, things are what they are. Make something new. I think of what creators like Wendy Peeney did with ElfQuest. She created from whole cloth of a world, several worlds full of amazing characters that are entirely hers, entirely sui generis. Um, she didn't rewrite a pre-existing story for some old white guy. She's brilliant, and the showrunners and young writers of every persuasion should follow her lead. Keeney then detailed her response. Quote, Bill, thank you so much for a very high compliment. What's interesting is if, and I emphasize if, ElfQuest does make it to film or TV someday in this political climate, it will be assumed that we have dark skinned elves because we're following the current trend toward representation and inclusivity, unquote. Quote, but back in the mid 70s, you want to know why I created a tribe of dark skinned elves? For the beauty. Prior to starting my career in the independent comics movement, I had been a semi professional belly dancer. I saw beauties, male and female, of every exotic hue, and my artist eye reveled at what the radiant colors of their dance costumes glowed against golden brown skin, unquote. She added, she explained. Let me see if anybody's saying anything. At least I got a couple of lights in there. That's good. Anyways, we're making some decent time, I guess. Peony elaborated, quote, I used to design dance costumes for my own belly dancing teacher who had a distinct Middle Eastern flair. That's why I needed elves of color, because artistically I couldn't do without them. Unquote. He responds. His response concluded, "Quote: Truly, I wish that was the reason for inclusivity." Unquote. Quote unquote. Now, I wish all humanity could just see the beauty, as I know you do, Bill. So, okay, I think that's supposed to be she. She. So, in the comment section of the post, Peony would provide a follow up response to Sinkovich. Quote, Wendy, Peony, amen, your choices and characters and creative decisions all came from a place of integrity and personal set of beliefs. Your work feels and remains honest and real. And that's why lovers of ElfQuest have been around for the long haul, which only makes me feel more disappointed that so much of how to is being mandated now um, feels retroactive and shoehorns and pretzelized to fit the corporate dictate. He added, quote, a cynical cash grab that feel that feels shallow and uses fans very real hopes and dreams for meaningful entertainment that can change lives, and dashes those hopes and dreams on the wheels of commerce and politics. I'll be right back. I'm I'll be right back. I just got to step away from the computer for a moment or so. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Let's see. Oh, Mike's got some personal business to take care of. He will be back soon. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, toys, that's right. Anyways, now that I'm back, let's get back to this story here. Let's see. Oh yeah, okay. He a- uh he added or she added a cynical cash grab that feels shallow and oh okay, we actually read that part, okay. Actually the next line here, the quote, no one wins there, not the creators, not the fans. It's coldly strip mining and monetizing everything that means anything to people. I fear that's what is happening with so much of what we love these days. And like everything, it's dividing us when, as I remember it, how it was and still be, it should unite us, he concluded. Yeah. And kind of like what we've been seeing when we've been going on Fridays, going back in time to check out the older stuff. You know, so um, anyways, and I thank you guys again for the likes and shares. That does help. Hopefully, we can get some more people in here. As I will continue on here. Oh yeah. Okay, now I remember what they're talking about when went off on fans. I just saw the headline there. think we actually did cover that story, in fact. This is a complete about face for Sinkovich, who rallied against comic fans for expressing similar beliefs back in 2018. In a Facebook post that has since been removed by Facebook for violating their quote unquote community standards on harassment and bullying, Sinkovich wrote, quote, to begin, I'm convinced comics chose me as a practitioner, emissary, evangelist, what have you, um, rather than the other way around. Perhaps that's why I tend to view most other creators through a similar lens. Whatever the actual reason people create comics, tell stories, live in this world, it's still a wonderful calling. Creators are family, our family, every voice is unique and necessary. He continued, quote, that said, comics are as hell didn't sure as hell didn't choose the so-called Comicsgate contingent to promote hateful, misogynistic, and plain old ugly dogma. No, these gators, you guys, you brought that ugliness all by yourself. Oh boy, yeah, I do kind of remember this now. I remember we did kind of cover that, but quote, to be honest, I just don't get your deal. Are you so insecure, so afraid, so fearful of the prospect of bearing the incel moniker, or by sharing creative space, someone with more estrogen than you, that you're all somehow threatened to your very manhood or your livelihood? How super heroic of you, you wrote. Oh boy, this I'm surprised this guy didn't get beat up. Damn fighting words. The guy's lucky he didn't get his butt handed to him. Those are fighting words. But now he's apparently changed his tune because, according to the earlier part of this article, he was kind of starting to say the same thing that he was criticizing. What was it, like 4 years ago now? I wonder what changed his mind. Anyways, quote, I'd ask you to explain it to me, but frankly, what I've heard from your quarter already bores me, as well as just plain pees me off. I bleeping despise bullies, cowards, he asserted. He then opined, quote, what you're each promoting individually is not some divine creative dispensation. Yeah, it is because hey, they're making money, man. They're making money, so they're being successful without having to go through the mainstream garbage. So it's just you being an a-hole. Collectively, you're a gaggle, a clan, potentially with the K, unsubtle as that shot may be. A veritable bag's worth of douches. Whatever the name you give for your assembly, you're not the Avengers. You're still a bunch of a-holes. I don't think, I think a lot of people would disagree with him on that one. No, the whole point is that they don't like the pushing of the woke. And now I guess Mr. Sinkovich has apparently changed his tune a bit here because according to earlier in this article, he's now espousing those very things that he was basically just dumping on. That he was dumping on like 4 years ago. He was dumping on 4 years ago. Now I guess is to him cool now. So, Anyways. Next, Sinkovich wrote, quote, comics isn't a boys' club. It's not no, insert ethnic group, gender, religion, sexual preference here, allowed. It's a club, a meeting place, a forum for creators of all stripes, like a real life legion of superheroes or Justice League, only with pen and ink paper and Clintix and laptops, whatever Clintic is. Um, and unquote. He then made some bold accusations stating, quote, stop being the creepy, racist, misogynist uncles showing up at reunions and urinating in the punch bowl to disprove your beta standing. Okay. Stop being the weird cousin the entire world points to as the definition of every in smaller quotes comic book nerd stereotype, unquote. Quote, or do it far away from us. Stop being whiny, misunderstood victims. I'd say that's a little projecting right there. No, it's their side that does all that. It's their side that don't. Dude, I think you're staring at yourself in the mirror, dude, by saying that. Female dogging about favoritism, intolerance, and sexism. You're slinging inky black aspersions, um, obliviously crying racism in your whiteout. In your whiteout. Again, sounds like he was projecting. These are comments I guess he made back in 2018, so it sounds more like he was projecting here. I'd say it's almost like he's projecting something there that wasn't really. Your D right. Some corrections need to be made, starting with the guys in the mirror first. Unquote. He can. Maybe you should, make some changes to the guy looking back at you in the mirror, dude. Ah, let's see. I'm still the only one here. He continued. He continued his personal attacks, quote, so stop being awful ambassadors for the worst of our natures. Stop being brown shirts. Stop being GD ugly penises. And to rejigger an ugly phrase you sling at women. I'm instead going to channel it here in the spirit of my Aussie friends. Stop being such insufferable, clueless female parts. It sounds like the guy was projecting a bit. I guess that's why Facebook took it off, took the post off. Finally, he concluded, quote, the medium didn't call on you to be the best version of a-holes you could be. Neither did we. Knock it off. Either step up or step off. We comics and the audience will be absolutely fine without you, and you won't be missed 1D bit. Well, I don't know. They've taken a lot of their audience, a lot of that audience with them, and made a lot of money, dude. Uh, you would have to confiscate here, and they've actually been making money, whereas you haven't, or not, probably not as much as you'd like. So maybe that's what's with this change of his now, because he's realizing that, okay, maybe I picked the wrong side. What do you make of Sinkovich's criticism of Prime Video's Lord of the Rings at its corporate mandated diversity? Well, I think a lot of people would agree with him. I think the only issue people would have is it sounds borderline hypocritical, considering he was seen to be on the other side of the coin, 4 years ago? So that's what I'm thinking. You know, dude seemed to be projecting here a bit. So let's see, where are we at now? Time wise, let's see. Time wise, we are at 56 minutes. So just getting through those first two articles there. And the rest should be a little bit quicker because now we're going to be heading off to CBR now and going through some articles from there, including a couple of comic ones, as well as like 4 anime, and then the last 2 news items we're going to talk about. We're not going to refer to any articles. It was based on a video I was watching earlier. So let's see. So, and the first story here that comment. All right, here we go. Here's something for you guys to the comics fans here to take into account. Exclusive: Joker writer Sam Jones joins Boom's House of Slaughter. Boom Studios' Something is Killing the Children spinoff, House of Slaughter, taps writer Sam Jones and artist Letizia Kadonichi for its next story. Article by Noah Dominguez, published 12 hours ago. Here's some of the artwork right there. James Tynion IV and Werther del Edera's Something is Killing the Children spinoff, House of Slaughter, has tapped writer Sam Jones of Joker and Punchline fame and artist Letizia Kadonichi for its next major story. At this time, CBR can exclusively reveal that Jones and Kadonichi are officially set to join Tynion and Deladera on Boom Studios' House of Slaughter, starting with issue number 6, which is due to hit comic shops in May. Jones is, or it could be Johns. Because now that I think about it, I think people say like Jeff Johns. This guy's obviously not Jeff Johns; it's Sam Johns. But Johns is certainly no stranger to working with Tynion. With the two having previously co-authored the Batman spin-off titles, Joker and Punchline, for DC, House of Slaughter number 6 features main cover art by Raphael Albuquerque and Deladera, as well as variant cover art by Kyle Holtz, Jorge Corona, and Andrea Sorrentino. Here's some of the art from House of Slaughter number 6 right there. All right, so I guess here's a bit of the description of the book. Edwin Slaughter is a Scarlet Mask, one of the secret record keepers of the Order of St. George. He's enamored with stories of ancient hunters, as well as those in his midst. but he only gets to write the stories and never live them himself. This is until what starts out as standard reconnaissance for the Order turns Edwin's world upside down. A legendary monster is discovered, one long thought extinct. It's taken the lives of countless children, bringing Edwin into the field and into real danger for the very first time. See, well, we at least got 2 people watching at least. Let's see now. Quote, when we decided to launch a supporting title to Something is Killing the Children, the goal was to create a series that could cycle through many stories in the mythology surrounding the House of Slaughter. Unquote. So, sounds like they're trying to pull for Boom Studios what DC did years ago with House of Mystery and House of Secrets. Make some kind of with House of Mystery and House of Secrets, those were, of course, sci-fi anthologies. This one sounds more like a horror anthology. Said Tynion. Quote, the stories Werther and I would never get a chance to tell, but knew must be told. Sam and Letizia introduce you to Edwin Slaughter, member of the Scarlet Mask. There's so much depth behind their blood red masks. I'm so excited to learn more about them, and Edwin in particular. House of Slaughter originally launched in October 2021 with Tynion and Deladera joining forces with writer Tate Brombal and artist Chris Sheehan to tell the story of Aaron Slaughter and Jace Boucher, said Deladera, quote, exploring the House of Slaughter, we get to know Aaron and Jace better. Now it's Edwin's turn, and many new characters will join in. The world of Something is Killing the Children continues to grow with a new creative team and brand new characters. How exciting. Exploring the House of Slaughter means revealing its occupants' hidden modus operandi. For dedicated readers of Something is Killing the Children, while at the same time offering the first glimpse down the private halls of the Scarlet Mask, unquote, said Johns. Quote, Letizia Cadonici brings art to this book that is as beautiful as it is unsettling, an essential component to a story, and that's how to defeat what or who is unafraid of death, unquote. Quote, as a huge fan of Something is Killing the Children, I still can't believe I'm entering the House of Slaughter, unquote, added Cadonici. Quote, I love horror, monsters, and anything that scares, so I really couldn't ask for anything better, unquote. Written by James Tynion IV and Sam Johns, illustrated by Werther Deladera and Letizia Cadonici. House of Slaughter number 6 goes on sale in May 2022 from Boom Studios. Oh, there we go with that one. Let's see. And, if you guys have anything you'd like to add to the conversation, feel free to do so. Guys, anything here catches your attention, feel free to chime in. As we get ready to get to the last comic article. Over here. Alright, where are we at? So just out past the hour mark, okay. Alright, so here we go. Go with the last comic story of the night, anyways. Todd McFarlane homages Jim Lee's X-Men #1 cover for Spawn spinoff variant. Todd McFarlane's variant cover for issue #3 of the Spawn spinoff, The Scorched, pays homage to Jim Lee's X-Men #1 cover. Article by John Arvidon, published 9 hours ago. Todd McFarlane's variant cover for The Scorched #3 will look particularly familiar to comic book fans of a certain vintage. The cover art pays homage to 1991's X-Men #1 from Jim Lee and Chris Claremont. Specifically, Lee's cover art with medieval Spawn standing in for Cyclops and Gunslinger Spawn standing in for Wolverine. Quote, over the years, I have what seems like hundreds of homage parody covers based on my artwork, unquote, McFarlane said. Quote, so it is always fun to turn the tables, do an homage to other covers and artists whose work I have admired. This will mark my first attempt at tipping my hat to my friend Jim Lee's amazing art. His career and the images he has given us have been the inspiration for many. I thought this image would be the best way to pay tribute to his talents, unquote. Spinning out of Spawn and Spawn's Universe #1, The Scorched is a Spawn-centric team book that, according to McFarlane, quote, will allow myself and the creative team to bring a rotating cast of heroes and villains and to have fun creating new characters and storylines, unquote. So it sounds like he's going to be using this book to create a universe. That sounds pretty cool. Anyways, I need to step away from the computer for a moment. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Thank you for the comment there, Toys. That's very appreciative. All right. All right, so here we go. Let's continue on with the article here. Let's see. Okay. Well, I would say The Scorched is going to be the easiest book for me and the writer Sean Lewis to creatively introduce new ideas and characters because it's not premised on a single character, unquote. McFarlane previously told CBR, quote, when you have a book happily named after your lead character, that's an expectation. You buy Spawn, King Spawn, or Gunslinger Spawn, and you're expecting those people to be the lead, so it gets hard and it is some of those bright ideas. In a team book, there should be a natural rotation of people coming and leaving like a sports team. The team is always going to be there, but you're going to get different players as time goes by. It's a place where we're going to be able to experiment by far the most. Whether or not that's a bad thing, we'll let the readers tell us if we get it right. Laughs. Um, they'll also be telling us which heroes they'd like to see in the book, and there may be some surprises going forward. Unquote. Scorched #3, written by Sean Lewis, illustrated by Steven Segovia, with covers by Francesco Mattina and Todd McFarlane, go on sale March 16th from Image Comics. Oh, there we go with that one. So that was the last of the comic articles. Um, you lost Cross though. Well, he probably went back to Lorenzo's stream. Yeah. I knew he probably came in for a brief sec to say hi and then went back to Lorenzo's stream. But at least he came in and liked it, so that helped a bit. So now we'll probably be getting into some anime related content. Anime related stories here. Where are we at on time? Hour 14. So we're making good time then, it would seem. All right, so here's the first article we're going to look at from the anime side of it. This Western fantasy book series is perfect for an anime adaptation. This is one of two anime adaptation articles that we're going to look at tonight. What they're talking about. So now that Western animation live action have failed to adapt one widely beloved fantasy series, it's time for a new approach. Anime. Article by Lara Adams, published 15 hours ago. All right. Dune, The Wheel of Time, The Witcher, even more screen adaptations such as Shadow and Bone, and of course Game of Thrones, are proving that now is the time for beloved sci-fi and fantasy series to make the jump from page to screen. Some book series, however, have yet to make that leap. One such series is Terry Pratchett's Discworld. Let's see. Composed of over 40 books with over 100 million copies sold. Pratchett was knighted for his contribution to literature, but he might be better known to some as a co-author of Good Omens, along with Neil Gaiman, which was adapted into a miniseries in 2019. Sir Terry passed away in 2015, and though attempts have been made to adapt his works, nothing has been the explosive hit that Discworld holds the potential for. Here's why it would make a brilliant anime. With several different branches of character journeys, including witches, watchmen, and wizards, as well as various standalone novels, Discworld is the perfect playground to explore. Yet nothing considered high caliber has ever been produced with companies either lacking funding or knowledge of how to truly recreate Pratchett's work. Thankfully, it was recently announced that Pratchett's books are to be adapted faithfully by his own production company, now headed by his daughter, and a children's movie, The Amazing Maurice and His Educated Rodents, is on the way. I think I did see a headline on that as well. However, a Western production company might just cause the same issues as before, not for lack of passion, but because a better alternative is available, one that has handled stories like Discworld before, with knowledge of creating more mature stories and the skills to animate them. An anime studio might be just what Discworld needs. There are many signs that point to 2D or mixture of 2D and CGI shows becoming the perfect home for epic sci-fi and fantasy series. First is the success of shows such as Castlevania, which feature lengthy action sequences and horrific fantastical elements while maintaining a mature style to the animation that marks it as adult entertainment. Use of animation as opposed to an attempted live action allows the animators more leeway when it comes to motion, expression, and general appearance of characters and environments. Instead of using CGI to alter an actor, the character would simply be animated true to the book. So, so I guess what they're saying and what this article is about is they've tried to adapt this guy Pratchett's work before in animated form or live action form or what have you, and just hasn't worked out up to this point. It's probably what it seems to be going on here. Jason Myers is back. Now, Cross has the art streams. He does. Let's see. How is actress Lynn? She's okay as far as I know. Is Caitlin Glass kick Vic or is she? Caitlin, I think is generally neutral. I think she might have a slight lean towards Vic, Jason. Um, I think I do remember seeing a video at some point after the whole thing started going down with Vic, where she did actually introduce him at a convention or what have you. So I think she's at the very least neutral, if not kind of. Albeit, I don't necessarily want to say too much because you know she might get flack for it. Um, I again don't want to get too much into the conversation right now because we got to get through these stories. We haven't really talked a whole lot about it in a while, so basically it's just small cadre. It's mostly just a cadre of individuals at Funimation who's kicked Vic. I've mentioned them before, so you know. Anyways, getting back to the article here. Beyond general design, another aspect of Pratchett's work that studios have struggled with is the balance of humor, action, and genuine reflection on questions posed in his works. Disregarded by many fans, a 2021 live action adaptation of The Watch took all the series' gritty parts and attempted to make a show, but it fell flat without the balance of humor. Um, Western animation studios seem either bound up in similarly gritty projects or sitcom television, making them a poor fit for an adaptation that asks for nuance and a full spectrum of emotion when presenting a story. So yeah, so they had tried to previously adapt his books, and it just didn't work out previously. So, however, several anime have hit the mark here, notably Gintama and One Punch Man, both of which are comedic and violent, yet have the ability to pull back from that for genuinely meaningful scenes. One Punch Man's oscillation between a true superhero show and one man's battle with depression is incredibly similar to a battle between a fun fantasy world and the serious personal and worldly issues Pratchett presented, such as battle against sexism and classism. One particularly worthwhile comparison is Mumin Rider from One Punch Man, who acts as a standard comic relief until he tries to stand up against the Sea King in season 1, after which his story becomes much more serious and forces the question of a superhero's purpose altogether. However, the story turns on a dime and becomes lighthearted once more when Mumin Rider escaping dire circumstances with relatively minor injuries. That might be there's a bit of the scene right there. Other moments in One Punch Man and similar anime have shown the ability to dip in and out of dark places. During a story arc, instead of simply going darker and darker, this suggests the anime industry might have a different idea of what it means to present a more mature story without getting lost in it, making it potentially ideal for Pratchett's Discworld. The fact that anime has been creating these more mature stories, while Western studios have used animation to make shows more directed at children, plays a huge role, as does the ability to incorporate absurdist humor like that featured in Discworld. Series like Odd Taxi and The Vampire Dies in No Time could contain scenes straight out of the books, further demonstrating how anime studios have a better understanding creating series directed at adults through the use of both humor and darker themes. While the draw to use live action CGI might be strong, the better adaptation of fantasy may still be anime, which has produced stellar works of fantasy in the past few years. With a steady wit, strong animation, and the ability to go into dark places and come back again, anime seems a perfect, valid contender to give the Discworld series a worthy home on screen. There we go with that one. So if you guys have anything you'd like to add to that, go ahead as we prepare to get to the next story here. Anyways. So I'm going to try to start going through these a little quicker here because Overlord, How to Get Started with the Anime and Light Novels. Featuring a gamer stuck in his unbelievable MMO skeleton avatar. Overlord is a much beloved example of an overpowered isekai series done right. Article by Timothy Donahue, published 13 hours ago. Isekai is full of overpowered protagonists, although the power fantasy concept very rarely works now with how trite the genre has become. However, one example where it definitely does work is Overlord. Archetypal, um, archetypal within the current isekai craze. The series got its start as a light novel before becoming an anime. That's remained consistently popular after several years. Although the title seems to have all the tropes of isekai, it does them far better than many other entries into the genre, earning it a host of fans. Excuse me a moment, I gotta go off camera here for a quick moment. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Let's get back to the article here. Let's see. All right. With isekai anime as big as ever, it's no surprise that Overlord is pretty easy to come by in one form or another. Whether it's streaming this in the spread out release of the show or reading the source material, getting into Overlord is as easy as logging into your favorite online video game. The plot of Overlord. The protagonist of Overlord is Momanga, the leader of a top guild in a dying online game called Yggdrasil. Reminiscing about all of the fun he's had playing the game with his friend, Momanga continues playing the game with his gigantic skeleton avatar as its servers officially shut down. Luckily for this gamer, quote, game over, unquote, isn't quite what he expected it to be. Instead of the server shutting down, the world of the game goes on. Although Momanga finds himself stuck in his avatar's body as if it's his own, determined to make the most of it. So this has elements, of course, of like games like Sword Art Online and a few other like Sword Art Online, dot hack, you know, um, another one, Log Horizon. Determined to make the most of it, he traverses the land in his new giant skeleton body, scaring passerby all the way. Searching for others who also once lived in the real world, Momanga becomes increasingly powerful due to the many in game modifications his avatar had. This sees him not only easily take down anything in his path, but also doing so with little to no moral qualms. Where to read the Overland light novels and manga? Overlord was created by Kugane Maruyama and Sobin, with its original form being that of a web novel. The original novels started in 2010 and are still going, although its more well known light novel form began its run in 2012. 14 volumes have been released so far, with the 17th announced as being its last. Compace began serializing a manga adaptation in 2014, which so far has amassed 16 volumes. But the novels and manga are licensed in the West by Yen Press. Either of Overlord's print versions are easy to get anywhere manga are sold, whether physically or digitally. Barnes & Nobles, Books A Million, and Amazon all carry light novels and manga, while Comixology has digital versions of the latter. The two most recent manga volumes have not been localized yet. Although they, along with the 14th volume of the manga, will be brought to the West later this year. Where to watch the Overlord anime? The biggest claim to fame for Overlord is the anime adaptation, which is still hugely successful nearly 7 years after it first started airing. The series is handled by legendary production studio Madhouse, and its animation is absolutely gorgeous. The beloved Isekai anime began in 2015 for a 13-episode season 1, and it was followed 3 years later with 2 new seasons of the same length. Despite this gap, fans can't get enough of Overlord, and their demands for a new season are finally being met. Season 4 of Overlord will release later in 2022, and it will likely be 13 episodes long as well. There was also an OVA produced for the series, as well as 2 compilation films that distill the anime's plot down into 2 movies. A true movie that continues the anime's plot and adapts more of the novel's Holy Kingdom arc, quote unquote, is on the way. If that wasn't enough, fans can also see more of Momanga in the anime series Isekai Quartet, where a chibi version of the skeleton hangs out with the protagonist of other Isekai anime as they go on comedic and wacky adventures. Yeah, I've seen some of the. I haven't actually watched Isekai Quartet, but I've seen some like pictures of it. It does look kind of interesting, humorously. Hmm. Overlord can be streamed through Funimation as well as Hulu and Crunchyroll. Isekai Quartet can be seen on VRV, Crunchyroll, and Funimation streaming service. Um, Although individual episodes can be purchased through other services, with all of these accessible options, it's incredibly easy to enter the multimedia online role playing game world of Overlord and see the series that puts power in overpowered. All right, so let's see. We got a couple more animes stories to go, and then a couple of. I gotta step away from the computer. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. um, so moving on to the next anime story here. Might actually run a little over 2 hours tonight at the rate we're going. We'll see. Here's the next story here. Fullmetal Alchemist teases new movie for series' 20th anniversary. A new countdown site and image appear to tease a new live action Fullmetal Alchemist movie focused on the character of Scar. Article by Michael Lacerna, published 13 hours ago. Oh, there he is right there. Square Enix appears to be transmuting. Transmuting. Oh, nice segue. A new Full Metal Alchemist movie. The publisher opened up a new website that features a countdown timer and an image that appears to show a live action rendition of the anti state alchemist serial killer Scar, whose distinctive X um, shaped facial scar and arm tattoo can be seen. The timer is set to end on. Sorry about that. On March 2nd. According to Square Enix, the site and whatever project it is teasing are part of the still ongoing celebration surrounding the 20th anniversary of Fullmetal Alchemist original publication, which occurred in July 2021. The teaser image of Scar also has been on posters displayed in Japanese theaters. So I think the manga for Full Metal Alchemist may have, let's see, came out in 2001, I think, and then we know that the series came out a little later, because it was actually, you guys remember it was Full Metal Alchemist is one of the more popular shows on Adult Swim and on Toonami. Let's see. All right. So, anyways, if this teased project is indeed a live action release, it could be a sequel to the franchise's original live action adaptation, which was released in 2017. Movie was directed by Fumihiko Sori, Ping Pong, and was released internationally in 2018 as a Netflix streaming exclusive. A new project will be the latest in a series of new releases tied to FMA's big anniversary. Square Enix previously announced a brand new mobile game for iOS and Android devices that is scheduled to be released sometime this summer. The manga's original creator, Hiromu Arakawa, marked the anniversary of the debut of her biggest hit by revealing her latest manga, Yomi no Shugai, roughly translated, The Underworld Turn, which began its serialization in Square Enix's Shonen Gangan magazine last December. The English release of Arakawa's new series has yet to be announced. Full Metal Alchemist was one of the most popular and critically acclaimed manga series of the early 2000s. The story focuses on two brothers, Edward and Alphonse Elric, who both possess an unusual aptitude for alchemy, the art of transforming one object into another. After an attempt to use their skills to resurrect their beloved mother, goes horribly wrong. The two brothers decide to become state alchemists. While officially under the employ of the government, the brothers use their resources to try to find the Philosopher's Stone, a legendary artifact that will allow them to undo the damage they've caused. The series received two separate anime adaptations. The original series premiered in 2003, and while it was a huge commercial success, the original adaptation's story widely diverges from the source material and concludes with a completely original and somewhat divisive ending. Second anime, entitled Full Alchemist Brotherhood, was produced in 2009. The second series was a much more faithful rendition of the manga and received a more positive critical reception. All right, so there we go with that one. And I think we'll have one more following this. And this will be the last anime story. Excuse me again one more time. Sorry, I got to step away from the camera for a quick moment. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. All right, so here we go. Tales of Arise producer shoots down possible anime adaptation. Tales of Arise features multiple animated cutscenes by Demon Slayer Studio Ufotable, but according to its producer, it is never going to be an anime. Article by Michael Cerna published 10 hours ago. Fans hoping for a Tales of Arise anime are in for some disappointing news. In a new interview with Japanese gaming magazine Famitsu, which was translated by Silkanera, Tales series producer Yusuke Tomizawa shot down requests for an anime series based on Tales of Arise. Quote, since so much of Tales of Arise was created around the basis of it being a game, such as the story and overall experience, unquote, Tomizawa said, finally plainly stating, quote, we have no intentions to tell that same story through an animated adaptation. Which, okay, I would think that would be somewhat disappointing just simply because many games have been adapted into animes. We were talking earlier. Overlord. Well, Overlord, I think is more of an anime than, but let's see. Dot Hack 9, Yu-Gi-Oh! Pokemon, Super Mario Brothers. Numerous other entries in Bandai Namco's long-running Tales series have been adapted into anime series, despite also presumably being designed as games first, as I was just pointing out. Namely, the beloved GameCube classic Tales of Symphonia, 2005's Tales of the Abyss. Tales of the Abyss, right now, Tales of the Abyss. I believe that one's on. I'm not sure if that's the one I'm thinking of, or Tales of the Abyss might actually be. No, that's Made in Abyss. Never mind. Thinking of Made in Abyss, the one that's on Toonami right now, which is now being released for free through the official Tales series YouTube channel. The last mainline Tales games to be adapted into a full-length anime series were the Tales of Zestria, the Tales of Berseria. Yeah, I've heard of Tales of Zestria, which were originally released for the Sony PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and Windows PC in 2015-2016, respectively. The two games' stories were both featured in Tale of Zestria X, a 26-episode series that aired in 2016. Tales of Luminaria, The Fateful Crossroad, a CG anime based on one of the series' mobile spin-offs, is currently airing in Japan and is being simulcast by Funimation. Tales of Arise is the latest game in the action RPG series and was released in 2021. The game received positive reviews for its substantial overhauling of the series' traditional gameplay and lovable cast of characters, and was awarded RPG of the Year at the Game Awards in 2021. The story of the game focuses on Alphen, an amnesiac man who is incapable of feeling pain and whose face is covered with an iron mask, and that cannot be removed. Sounds somewhat similar to Utawaremono. Similar premise there. The Utawaremono. After meeting a mysterious woman named Shione, who is cursed to inflict pain on anyone she touches, Alphen becomes embroiled in a battle between two worlds. Notably, the game featured cutscenes created by Ufotable, animation studio that is best known for producing the anime adaptation of Kiyoharu Gotoge's Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba. Among some of other Ufotable's work include, I think the later Fate. I think some of the later Fate series were done by Ufotable, as well as Ninja Nonsense, I believe, was also done by Ufotable. Ufotable recently released a new animated short based on the game, which led to a fan speculation of full anime adaptation was in the works. Tales of Arise is now available for Windows, PCs, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series XS. A selection of Tales anime series are now officially available for streaming on YouTube. All right, so that's at least all that we have for the articles, anyways. Before we get into history, I do have a couple more news tidbits to talk about. So, those are in the wrestling realm. So I was watching one of the WrestleMania's videos earlier, and a couple of news pieces. So Brandy Rhodes, Cody Rhodes' wife, has come out and stated that she is not going to the WWE. She still plans. Apparently, she still plans on still having a wrestling career, but she's just now. There's still been some speculation that Cody may go to WWE, but according to Bubba Ray Dudley on his podcast, he's saying the whole thing with Cody is potentially a work, and that what's going to probably end up happening, at least his speculation is that Cody will go back to AEW and he'll basically attempt to take it over a la New World Order style. So that's at least the rumor mill there going on with Cody Rhodes, AEW, and WWE, and Randy Rhodes. And then the other wrestling news item revolves around Devon Dudley. Now, there was some talk that Devon was going to try to both he and Bubba Ray had both been retired for a few years now. There was some talk that Devon might come back to the WWE to Survivor Series this year. That idea was scrapped after it had been revealed that Devon had spinal fusion surgery, and his doctor basically told him he can't wrestle anymore. Which I could imagine would the reason being is one good shot would probably do serious damage to him. It's like kind of like why Arn had to retire, early in his career, But in Arn's case, he had some, the surgery he had screwed his body up. But Devon at this point is not going to be coming back to the ring anytime. Well, I know he's kind of up there in years too. I think Devon is probably maybe late 40s, early 50s already. I would imagine, but let me double check that. And just in case you don't remember who Devon Dudley is, he's one half of the Dudley boys. Devon Hughes is born in 1970. So he'll be turning 50 this August 1st. He's already he's in the TNA Hall of Fame as of class of 2014, the WWE Hall of Fame 2018. So Devon, there was some talk of him possibly coming back, but now it looks like apparently he still is in the WWE as a producer, backstage agent. And there was some talk again about him getting back in the ring, maybe at the Royal Rumble here. But that idea was apparently scrapped, as I said, because he was because he had some spinal fusion surgery. So, anyways, so that's all the news we have for tonight. As I said, we did go over a little bit. We're gonna start to wrap things up here. So, if you guys are ready, it's time for This Day in Each History. Today being, and of course, don't forget tomorrow night, Batgoat will be with me. We'll be doing the historical comic retrospect, where we're going to be getting into October of 1938. We'll be looking at some of DC stuff, including reading some Slam Bradley, some Zatara, and time permitting, maybe even some Tex Thompson. So, with that, guys, let's get to it. To This Day in Each History. History! So let me just review here. 2010, 2002, 2012, and 2007. Okay. All right. So without any further ado, let's get going here. So first off, so today being Thursday, February the 17th, 2022, let's take a look back at this day in each history. And the first stop we're going to go to is back 20 years ago today. As on this date, 20 years ago today, the WWE held its No Way Out pay-per-view for that year at the Bradley Center in Milwaukee. Now, among other things, this marked the WWF debut of the New World Order, the three original members of Hollywood Hogan, Hall and Nash, the Outsiders, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, the Outsiders. Vince McMahon had brought the NWO in to try to force Ric Flair out of power, as Flair had gained 50% of the company. So there was a bit of a rivalry. And among the matches for the night, in the main event of No Way Out saw Chris Jericho retain the undisputed WWF Championship over Steve Austin. Kurt Angle defeat Triple H with Stephanie McMahon as the special guest referee. This was at a time when they were playing up the whole. Okay, so Angle and Triple H had the rivalry, and then Triple H was implying that Kurt may have been into guys and all that. You had a few comedic spots there that that of course this was during the Attitude Era, so things were a little more, let's just say, risque. That wouldn't go over well today. Among some of the other matches included The Rock defeating Undertaker, William Regal defeating Edge in a brass knuckles on a pole match to retain the Intercontinental Championship, Tad and Spike Dudley retaining the WWF Tag Team Championship over Booker T and Test, the APA defeating Lance Storm and Christian, Scotty 2 Hotty and Albert, the Hardy Boys, the aforementioned Dudley Boys, and Billy and Chuck in a tag team, and I guess in a tag team war. And then the Sunday Night Heat match saw Diamond Dallas Page retain the European Championship via disqualification over Big Boss Man. So that was 20 years ago today that happened. The No Way Out pay-per-view. Also, moving forward here, moving ahead to 2007, which was 15 years ago today. On this date, 15 years ago today, the anime movie JoJo's Bizarre Adventure: Phantom Blood premiered in theaters in Japan from APPP Studio. Now, this wasn't the same studio I think that did the later anime series, but on this date in 2007, 15 years ago today, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure: Phantom Blood was released in movie theaters. Night, Mike. Night, Toys. Thanks for popping in, and thanks for the likes and shares. Let's see. Moving on to the next piece of niche history, as it were. Okay, so on this date in 2010, which was 12 years ago today, the 50th and final issue of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic from Dark Horse Comics went on sale on this date in 2010. So 12 years ago today, the 50th and final issue of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic from Dark Horse went on sale on this date. It was 40 pages for $2.99. The story was Demon Part 4, written by John Jackson Miller, art by Brian Ching, lettering done by Michael Hessier, and Michael Ati did the coloring. So on this date, as we said, 12 years ago, the 50th and final issue of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic from Dark Horse Comics went on sale on this date. And finally, we have one more piece of history here. On this date in 2012, 10 years ago today, the Cartoon Network series Secret Mountain Fort Awesome was canceled on this date back in 2012. 10 years ago today, the Cartoon Network series Secret Mountain Fort Awesome was canceled. Let me see. The show would actually air its last episode in May, but it was announced on this date that it was canceled as of February 17, 2012. So there you go, guys. That's everything tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed the content. Don't forget tomorrow night will be starting October 1938 with DC. Batgoat will be with me, hopefully. And until then, bye.